Everybody, it's me, David from Chesty's Dog Training, and today we are going to do, well actually we're going to practice something. And it's something that I got inspired by the potty bells because I'm going to be linking events together. So I have a client, she's always asking if there's something that I can do for the dog to go into a command-like place or crate when there's a doorbell or a knock. I'm like, I don't see why not. I mean, you're just taking an event that's happening and guiding the dog to it. Now, the issues that I can see with this is that if your dog's not properly introduced to distractions, and it can be at any rate you want, but if you're trying to introduce a command-like place where the dog goes to a place and doesn't move, you need to take in consideration that if you're not there, you need to understand that like every single person that has to come through your door, you need to acclimate them to understand that that command stays in place regardless of who comes through the door. So this might take some work for people, but in this case, we're starting off very slow. There isn't going to be very minimal distractions. This is just the base work, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to release Ezzy. Right, I have their leashes on so that way I can guide them if I need to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock on the door. Place. Alright, so as soon as your dog's paws, all four paws are on place, you're going to click and reward. Okay? And then next I'm going to open the door. Blah, blah, blah. Hello, invisible person. Close the door. I'm going to click again because they didn't move. Of course, this is probably going to be easier when you have another person here with you. This is how you build up that confidence of knowing what to do. Because I know, because with dog training, even trainers, there's this level of uncertainty that happens where you're preparing yourself for the next step, which would be high-level distractions, high-level duration, distance, whatever the case may be. But the goal is that no matter what happens, if they hear that sound, we're connecting it with a command that the dog can do instead. All right, break. All right, so this time I'm just going to knock on a different surface. Place. Now this might take a few repetitions, but because I have two dogs, I have to work at a different pace. Kiku is she's smaller, she can get up on the surface a lot easier. Ezzy's a lot bigger, and she kind of struggles getting up on stuff sometimes because we have these weird fake floor things. So that's step one, okay? So this is all we're doing. We might do this for about 10 reps. I'll take the word out and just see if the sound is going to take them to it, all right? And if not, then I'm going to have to reformulate, and then I'm going to have to do things differently. All right, break. I might actually put, I'm going to put a carpet square underneath the thing, so that way they can get up and down. That's just to give her something to latch on to. All right, so we're going to do it again and see what happens. Place. Wrong. All right, so you saw what just happened. Kiku got distracted by a treat on the floor. I said the word wrong. I paused. And I gave her a chance to correct herself, and she did exactly that. All right, that is the power of wrong. It's a really awesome command. All right. So what I might actually do is that because my dogs do know this very well, I'm just going to take the leashes off for right now. So we can just get them a little more fluid. Move that kind of to the center. Break! Good girls. All right, so I took the word out because I have a hand cue. So I think that's going to help them out a lot because I know the word. I'm not worried about the word. Well, you know, if you think about it, the basic process of phasing out a word or a sound, especially when you're doing a new dog's name, you would say the new name first, then the old name because the dog understands that auditorily, and then you reword, and then you eventually just phase out the old word. So, you know, just think about how different processes could work for your dog. And that's why I took the word out. So that way they can just focus on that sound and then something to do. Break. Break. All right, saw that? She was looking for guidance. She saw me slightly move forward, and she just took cue and went right into place. So that tells me that that's starting to click with her. And then the same thing with Ezzy. She's starting to understand it a little bit. It's going to take time because you want to connect that word to mean go sit here. Okay? I'm going to try something different. Just doing troubleshootings. All right, break. 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 Good girl. All right, so I'm going to do it again. Hopefully I can do this without them actually seeing me do it. All right, so it's starting to happen. It's very subtle, but they're starting to understand the idea. This is also giving Ezzy some exercise. We did go for a mini walk to the mailbox today, but, you know, so like I said, this is going to take some time because you have to kind of think about it in the sense that you're like I said, you're taking the sound, which is replacing a word, and then you're giving them a command. So pretty much what I'm doing is I'm versatile, making place very versatile. There's another connection. There's another word to mean go here. All right, break. All right, so I'm gonna loosen them up. We're gonna walk around. We're gonna be crazy. What's up, puppies? Kiku, break. Good. All right, so I'm gonna knock on the door. Saw that? So what I did differently this time is I paused. I paused for a second and then I allowed them to choose. The first dog to actually get this was Ezzy. She made the connection and she went right for it. Kiku followed suit. So all I'm also utilizing, which could be a possibility, is that I'm using the dog's leadership that they have with each other as well. When you work with multiple dogs, it can get kind of difficult and kind of hectic, but they do have both a very good structural foundation to where they both know the same stuff, which, you know, if you're trying to walk two dogs at the same time, you got to build each dog up first, separately, before you can do it together. Break. That's something that I didn't know how to do. Good. So now I'm going to knock on a different surface. Right, because I want all the dogs to succeed. All right, so you saw that. Kiku knew exactly what to do. She's like, okay, so when I hear this, I just go on the couch. Okay, So I guess the next step would be is to figure out how this is going to work if it's just someone knocking from the outside and having them go to place, okay? It's going to get a little dicey because I have no idea what's going to happen. This is uncharted territory for me. It's a new concept, but obviously it can be done. Break! Good girl. All right, so I'm going to step outside. I'm going to pause for a few seconds, then I'm knock on the door. Alright, so I have no idea what happened, what Kiku did. I'm going to assume that hopefully she heard the sound and went to the thing. I'm going to have to replay that and see what happened. You can tell me in the comments because that would be really cool. I'm going to try and peek on the window to see what happened. So I'm going to do it again after this. Because if it happened, that tells me that there's something that we're doing correctly. Okay? And then even from here, you can get the dogs acclimated to the door being open. Like I can leave this door open, I can wander around freely, and I'm not worried about my dogs walking out of the house. Every now and then click while they're still in position, especially if they're still maintaining command to reinforce it. I'm using treat rewards. I'm using dried chicken breast. You can use whatever, you can use your dog's food, whatever you want. Break! See that backwards motion like I was teaching you guys on how to do break with place? That step back. It's a cue for your dog. You can do, there are different techniques for this. You can use whistles, you can do all kinds of crap, but honestly, body language is the first thing your dog notices. So I always go with that, honestly. Each dog is different, but as a lot of things that I've noticed is that like a lot of people give breed limitations. Oh, well, this dog can only do this job. Theoretically, if you build up the drive, you can still get a dog to do what you want him to do. It might not be at the same capacity with motivational wise, but you can get a dog, you can get a Chihuahua to do bite work, guaranteed. Break. Break. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to walk out the door and I'm going to observe and see what happens. It's just now they're starting to see a pattern, which is good. Alright, bye puppies. Bye-bye. Thanks. Wrong. Okay, I didn't quite see what Ezzy was doing, or Kiku was doing, but I'm assuming that she went right into place either when I left or as soon as she heard the sound. So now I'm going to just take it a step back. I need to get Ezzy worked up to the point where she hears the sound and goes straight there. Break. Kiku. Alright, so I'm going to do it again. Nice job! So you see what's happening? Do you see what's happening here? The dogs are now understanding that when they hear that auditory sound, and you can make your dog more flexible. Sorry, my brain gets all flustered when I get excited about stuff like this. So now what has happened is that knocking equals place, go to this area. So it's much like and I'm capturing it after they've performed what I want them to do. I might have been skipping some steps, but this is how you develop a nice, safe place for your dogs to go. And it also gets them acclimated to how to handle a high-rise distraction like these. So, like I said, Ezzy's just a smidge underneath Kiku, Kiku's very, very smart when it comes to figuring out and processing information, especially when me and her have a higher relationship value as compared to me and Ezzy. Ezzy does still very well with me. It's just when it comes down to who she would rather follow around, you know, I'm also that motivator, but not in the same capacity as my husband. So it's just how it is. I mean, me and her relationship's a lot better than what it used to be. Break. Break. I was moving too much. Kiku, break. So I'm gonna walk around the house real quick, and I'm gonna just do a random knock and see what happens. I'm trying to do it when they don't see me. Okay, so that might not be what I want it to happen, like what I want to happen, but like I said, if your dog isn't performing what you want it to do, when it hears the sound that you're trying to connect them with, from sound to command, you gotta take them right back. You have to keep reinforcing it over time. You can't, like, as soon as you let go and just like kind of like let them slack, they're going to slack even more. And then it's just going to confuse the dog. And then eventually it's not going to be rewarding enough for them to want to do it. Break. Kiku. All right, so I'm trying not to motion towards it because Kiku's very smart and she just understands that my body language walking towards there, she's just following me. All right. Break. So I'm actually going to knock on the back door to see what happens. Mental flexibility. It's not the same thing because the chance of someone knocking on my back door is very unlikely, and it's usually going to be my husband that does it. So I still was able, like they didn't go straight there. I had to start walking towards them. Then they're just looking for visual cues, like, oh, okay, so he's walking towards me. It looks like he's going here. And then they just went on the couch. Oh, you guys can't see this cute. And this is something fun you can do just to experiment. Like I said, I just started doing this today, like right now. So this is a very new concept for them. Obviously, Kiku understands this concept now to where I would be comfortable with someone else knocking at the door and just watching what she does. I would do that with a leash so that way I can guide her to place. But it's all about creating a predictable environment for your dog, right? When they are offered guidance on how to do and handle things in their environment, they're gonna perform what you want them to do. All right, good girls. You did very good today. So I hope this was useful. This is still